What's up guys, my name is Timbo and today I want to talk about Battlefield 5. I know this is a slight deviation from my usual video, but being a longtime Battlefield fan and having talked about the game a decent number of times in the past, I wanted to address this in some way. And not to mention these types of videos on other games is something I really enjoy doing. Obviously the Destiny stuff isn't going to go away, but making more general gaming videos occasionally is really fun and refreshing for me. Not all of them are going to be borderline controversial like this one is, but you get the picture. If you end up enjoying this video, leaving a like would be greatly appreciated, and then of course, the subscribe button is there as well. Press it, you won't. Battlefield 5 has been hit with some heavy controversy, basically ever since it was first announced. And while this video itself is not going to be some sort of heavily opinionated, angry rant, mostly because I don't really care one way or the other at the end of the day, I am going to be dipping my toes in the water, literally and figuratively. Yes, I am recording this video in the bathtub, you caught me. So for those of you who are unaware, basically, Battlefield 5 has been getting a lot of crap around the internet because it's a World War II game that will have women in its multiplayer and its campaign. And of course, this has sprung out a lot of people to get mad because SJWs and liberals and this game is not historically accurate, and if they wanted to make a game with a female lead, then why not make it a modern or futuristic game? Stuff like that. And this certainly isn't something new. The Last of Us Part 2 at E3 this year was getting flack for a different, but pretty similar reason. And last year, a very similar game to Battlefield 5, Call of Duty World War II, was affected for literally the same reason. And I don't know why, maybe it's because I follow Battlefield closer than I do Call of Duty, but it seems like Battlefield is taking much more heat for this than Call of Duty did last year. And this is the part in all this that I want to stray away from as much as possible because it's one of those things where no matter what you say, people will be made angry about it. If you want to hear my quick thoughts on it, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter to me. I think even though I may disagree with those that think it's wrong for Battlefield 5 to have women in it, I think everyone has a right to their own opinion. At the same time, I do think it's fair that games such as Battlefield 5 have just as much creative liberty as any other game out there. I think developers making the game should have creative freedom over their titles. These are video games, Battlefield is a video game, not a history book. And I think it should be looked at like any other game. If you don't want to buy this game for that reason, then I can see why, certainly, and I do think you have every right to do so as a consumer, and I could really care less. I'm not your mommy. I don't care what you do or do not choose to spend your money on, and I don't think the reasoning for buying or not buying that game really matters. It's completely up to you. But moving past that, it was recently announced on several news sites that pre-order numbers for Battlefield 5 are down. One news site even claims that it is 85% behind Black Ops 4. These numbers were never specified, but we are going to assume they are pretty significantly beneath what they would normally be for an upcoming Battlefield game. And what has seemed to have happened in result from the multitude of articles and YouTube videos is that many people out there think this drop in sales is solely because of all of the SJW stuff. What this video gets into though is that this is one of many factors playing into the low pre-order numbers, and we are actually going to dissect the more significant reasons as to why these numbers are down and what it means for Battlefield moving forward. Now, I am certain there are people out there who would normally buy Battlefield that aren't this time around because of the whole women thing. I'm not denying that, especially with how EA basically gave those people the middle finger, which was a really dumb move, in my opinion. However, they are more than likely not the majority. They are not the sole reason why this is happening to Battlefield 5, like some media outlets and YouTube videos will tell you. There are plenty of other reasons why the numbers look down. There are 4 big ones that I'm going to go over right now. Those being the marketing of the game, the release date, the look and feel, and lastly, EA being EA. Let's start by looking back at a game called Titanfall 2. You may or may not have heard of it. Titanfall 2 was a great game. It was fun. The developers listened to player feedback from the first and fixed almost everything that was missing or broken. It had a very healthy, respectful in-game story. It had lots of things going for it. But Titanfall 2 didn't sell all that well, and it ran into many of the same problems it looks like Battlefield 5 might be running into. First of all, Titanfall 2 was poorly marketed. There wasn't a big emphasis on getting word about the game out there. There wasn't a great job done in terms of displaying information to the consumer about what the game is, what's new, why you should buy it. And so when the game came out, you had a pretty significant number of gamers out there not purchase it because they thought it was still an Xbox exclusive game. And this isn't exactly what is happening with Battlefield 5. I'm pretty sure everyone out there knows it's a multi-platform game. But that doesn't excuse the fact that it has been presented pretty poorly, and that's the first thing I want to point out. The reveal with Trevor Noah was a cool idea as a concept, to be funny or draw in outside people or politicize the game. There are a lot of possible reasons for them doing that. But in terms of getting information out, showing off gameplay and new additions and improvements, actually showing off the game that is trying to be sold, it didn't do that very well. I remember being on FaceTime with my friend as we watched the reveal at the same time, and both of us at the end were like, that's it? And the same kind of thing happened at E3. There was nothing that really stood out or was impressive or was even a good representation of what the game is like. I mean, you could really go as far as saying that Battlefield 5 looks pretty much identical to Battlefield 1. I know there have been YouTubers out there making videos saying that the game plays very differently from Battlefield 1, but for a general audience, only being told something isn't what it seems is not enough. This isn't saying that I think Battlefield 5 will be a bad game by any means. I am only referring to the marketing, not the quality of game being created here. Just thought I'd make that clear. And then you combine this, the fact that Battlefield 5 isn't that appealing looking with the release window that it's set in, and things only get worse. This is where I bring up Titanfall 2 again, because it suffered from the same thing. Titanfall 2 released around Battlefield 1 as well as Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Battlefield 1 in its first week sold about 3.5 million copies, Call of Duty 3.75 million, Titanfall 2 385,000. That's it. It got destroyed because of this, because of the competition. And I know this time around it's certainly different. Not all of the big games coming out around this time are first-person shooters. Only one of them is published by Electronic Arts this time around. But generally speaking, it's the same type of issue that arises and leads to a lower number in pre-orders. Black Ops 4 and the Black Ops series in general is one of Call of Duty's top-selling brands. Call of Duty in general is such a juggernaut that I don't think Battlefield should even try to release it in the same month ever, period. Red Dead Redemption 2 is a Rockstar game that is highly anticipated and is going to sell like crazy. Whether these games are in the same genre or not, a lot of people out there don't have at a minimum $180 to burn in 1 month on 3 games, nor do they have the time to invest in 3 games all at once. This will cause a lot of people out there to have to pick one, and right now Black Ops and especially Red Dead 2 are far more appealing options compared to Battlefield 5. Next, I want to take a quick glance at the look and feel of the game. This part might matter to some more than others, but I thought it's still worth mentioning. I don't think the route into World War II was that wise of a decision to begin with. The last Battlefield game was World War I. The last Call of Duty was World War II. I don't think a World War II Battlefield seems that appealing no matter how good the game might end up being. It's not like it's a bad idea or that it doesn't fit the Battlefield formula like it was for Hardline, but it's just not good timing. I think many people out there would have preferred to have a Bad Company 3 or a modern Battlefield, or maybe even another shot at a future Battlefield. It's in a weird position because it's not like I look at the trailers for this game and think it's gonna suck, but it doesn't stand out as much as I would like it to. I really think Battlefield needs to stop trying to be Call of Duty, stop trying so hard to compete with it, and just be its own thing and releasing in its own month. Doing that wouldn't fix every single problem they have, but I think is a start. And EA needs to start making moves to improve this. There are some weird stories coming out that don't make any sense. I think despite the removal of the season pass in this game, there has not been a full recovery from Battlefront 2 and everything that went along with that. I think they are really shooting themselves in the foot with some of this stuff, and things have to change relatively quickly. So guys, that's basically all I have. I know that the social controversy does play a part when it comes to Battlefield 5, but in my opinion, that is more of the publicized aspect of it to create headlines and get clicks, when in reality, some of these more practical reasons I listed play a bigger role in why the numbers are down. But that's all I have for you today, so if you enjoyed the video, if you could please leave a like. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. If you'd like to support me further, you can find links to my Patreon, as well as my Twitter and Instagram in the description below, and follow me there. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.